A new study came out that found only 20% of people who had lost the weight were able to keep it off. And one of the things that you have to understand about transforming the body is that it is a long and arduous process, and most times many people don't make it out. Now, you probably know someone that's lost 20 pounds, 30 pounds off of their bodies, and you probably know the same person who has put the weight back onto their bodies. Now, there are a lot of factors involved, which is like doing unsustainable things, using fad diets, trying to lose it as fast as possible. But there's one very insidious thing that no one really talks about, which is the aspect of transforming your mind along with the body. Losing weight is more about your psychology than it is about your physiology. And you can know all the perfect things to do, but if you don't transform the 6 inches of space between your ears, then you're fighting an uphill battle. And I've seen this in my own life. In my beginning stages, when I was trying to transform my body, I would go through multiple periods where I would drop the weight, gain it back, drop the weight and gain it back. And it wasn't until I applied the system I'm about to show you where I really made a significant change in terms of my identity and the way in which I approached weight loss.
Yeah, big change.
And I've also seen this with our clients. One thing that I've realized with a lot of our clients is that they have been through perpetual weight loss cycles. In our coaching practice, almost like 80–90% of our clients that have been through something in terms of transforming their bodies, they have actually been through it multiple times. They have lost 20–30 pounds, they've gained it back. They have been through this yo-yo cycle where they are just looking to do something that is sustainable and also something that sticks in the long term. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you my system to training the mind to help yourself win the inner game of getting lean. And even if you're watching this and you're like, I don't need to lose weight, well, you can use this system towards any goal that you desire. I have used this to build my social media following. I've used this to build my businesses. This is the same exact way that I train my mind and I get my clients to train their mind. And I'm going to show you the exact system right now. Now, the system that I have is called the Mental Mastery System. And this works in conjunction with a previous video that I did about managing your emotions along with the process of transforming your body, which you can access right here. Now, this comes in 2 stages. The first stage is to build the plan for both your mind and your body. And the second stage is the actual mental training that you're going to be doing to train your mind to achieve your goal. So I'm going to take you through this. One thing I would recommend is that you get out a journal and you do this along with me. And you can always fill out the parts later on if you feel like we're going a little bit too fast for you. So number 1 is to get yourself a journal. This could be written or it could be digital. Number 2 is to write out exactly what you want in the present tense. And here's what I mean. You're not going to write out, I want to lose 20 pounds, because your mind doesn't know the difference between losing or even gaining 20 pounds. The way the mind works is it works in detail. So let's just say that you have a goal of losing 20 pounds. Where would that get you? You will write out, let's just say Dan Go, weigh 170 pounds, and then that would be the first thing that I would write inside of that journal. Afterwards, you are going to decide when you want it. And one of the things I would recommend at this stage is to not be like everyone else, which is to lose all their weight within a 6-week period.
But I want it now!
It's so ironic that people would gain all this weight in all these years and then they would try to lose it all in just like 6 weeks. When the fact is that the faster you try to lose this, the faster it's going to come back. So when you're deciding this deadline of which to accomplish this goal, you want to give yourself a long time horizon. And when it comes to losing 20, 30, 40 pounds or more, you want to give yourself at least a year to not only lose the weight, but also to keep it off. So let's just go with the original example where I want to weigh 170 pounds. So I, Dan Go, weigh 170 pounds by, let's just call it March 7th, 2025. Now here's the fun part. You're going to write out at least 10 reasons underneath that as to why you are going to accomplish this goal. Now, the reason why you want to do this is because you want to give yourself as many reasons as possible to follow through on the actions you're about to create for yourself. And one of the things that you're going to realize by going through this particular process is the fact that as you get away from the surface level things that you're going to write out at first, it's going to get a little bit deeper. And one exercise that I want you to try out is actually called the 5 whys. So let's just say one of your reasons is because you want to look good. then you're gonna ask yourself, okay, why do I wanna look good? I wanna look good because of X. And then you're gonna ask yourself, okay, why does that matter to you? That matters to me because of X. Okay, so why is that so important to you? You're gonna keep on asking yourself why until you get down to the root of why you want what you want. And a lot of times we have this just ability to delude ourselves, especially when it comes to why we want to achieve goals. So one of the things that you want to do is you want to get into the nitty-gritty of the reasons why, and you want to be honest with yourself. After this, you are going to list out what is called your pay value. And these are going to be a set of 3 to 5 actions that you are going to be doing consistently to achieve your goal. It's not enough to just like write out a goal and be like, all right, like I'm going to achieve it. You actually have to write out what are you going to sacrifice and pay to achieve this goal. A couple of examples could be I'm going to lift 3 times a week, or I'm going to do some form of exercise 3 times a week that I find enjoyable. Another one is going to be eating 3 high protein, healthy, nutritious meals. Like you just want to get clear about what the pay value is. And one thing I would recommend in one of the pay values is just one constant form of where you are measuring your progress. It could be tracking your weight, it could be measuring your waistline, whatever it is, but you need a way in which to gauge how close or how far you are away from your target. And what you measure is what you manage. After listing out the pay value, you are going to be doing one of the most important parts, which is writing out every single obstacle that is going to get in your way of achieving this goal. And Andrew Huberman did a goal setting podcast not too long ago. I'm paraphrasing right now, where he said that writing out the obstacles to your goals makes them more real. And one of the things that you want to do is you want to make this as real as possible, no matter how big the goal is. So after listing out all of your obstacles, one thing I want you to do is underneath every single obstacle, you are going to write out the solution that you are going to use to solve that problem. Think of this as forecasting your problems before they even happen and coming up with a plan to solve whatever it is that comes your way. One thing you have to understand is that this is not going to be a straight line process. It's not going to be this linear straight line down where you're like, all right, I'm just going to slide on over to losing my weight. This process is going to be a portion of zigzagging and seeing success and having setbacks and seeing success and having setbacks. And that's just all part of the game, and you have to accept that. But one of the things that you could do is you can forecast and you can make sure that you are solving these problems before they even happened in the first place. Now afterwards, you got to get real with yourself. Is the goal worth it? Is it worth it for you to achieve this goal, for you to put in the time and the effort to achieving it? How is this goal going to affect your family? How is this going to affect your life? And these are just questions you need to ask yourself to see whether or not the pay value is going to be worth it. And the second last step to all of this is to create and schedule the pay values inside of your calendar. So I'll use an example. If it's like doing a workout, you want to make sure that you have your workouts in red, scheduled in at the time you're going to be doing them. You want to block them out as if you would block out a flight. The other one would be getting 3 healthy meals into your system. Let's just say like you have all the time in the world and you can prep your meals. Awesome, cool. Make sure that you set aside time and put that in your calendar to do that. If you don't, like a lot of my clients in my coaching practice, we set up meal replacement services for them. If they have a lot of resources, then we actually set up chefs for them as well. We do this concierge service where we try to make the process of healthy eating as easy for them as possible. And one of the things is that if you are an entrepreneur and you're watching this, you probably don't have a lot of time on your hands. You have a business to run and also a family. So one of the things that you may want to do is, or may want to consider, is to get meal replacement or to even hire a chef, which is surprisingly not as expensive as a lot of people make it out to be. And finally, once this is all done, you are going to create what is called a directive affirmation. This directive affirmation is going to be your guidepost. It is going to be your North Star. So the thing that you have to understand about the mind is that it is a mechanism for achieving your goals. But what goals do most people give them? They give them the negative goals. Oh, I don't want to gain fat. Oh, I don't want to, be lazy. Like whatever it is, they are literally training their minds to achieve the thing they don't want. As opposed to the directive affirmation, this is going to be, again, like a North Star. You're going to write it out in the present tense. I'm going to give you an example on how to write this. And then you're going to be putting this in every place that you can think of So you are constantly training your mind towards the thing that you are achieving. So here's a directive affirmation from one of our clients. We're gonna call him Bob for privacy's sake. And he had actually written out this directive affirmation in March of 2023. You're gonna be very surprised at what happens after I read this to you. So I, Bob Smith, name withheld, obviously, have kept my weight at a lean, energetic, and confident 200 pounds by March 11th, 2024. I enjoy the feeling of working out and eating foods that nourish my body. The energy and vitality I've created has set a positive example of what good health looks like to my children and wife. I've used my enhanced confidence to reach new heights in my business. I did this by creating a habit of working out, eating 3 nutritious high-protein meals a day, prioritize sleeping 7 hours a night, and staying accountable to my coaches. I'm proud of the person I've become, and I'm excited for my next stage of evolution. I, Bob Smith, have kept my weight at 200 pounds, and I'm looking forward to setting my next goal. And the really cool thing about this is the fact that Bob had achieved this. He achieved this not necessarily by just writing out this directive affirmation or by going through this first process, this first phase. He did it through applying not only the things that we were telling him to do in the coaching program, but applying the mental training aspects of what I'm about to share with you. So the second phase is called mental training. And think of mental training as going to your mental gym. It's the reps and the sets to start in training your mind to not only achieve the goal, but to become the type of person that achieves the goal because it's just who they are. So part of mental training is something that I've already shared with you, is the fact that for 21 days, you want to create 5 copies of your directive affirmation. You want to put it in places where you can see it, bathroom mirrors, right when you wake up, on your phone, whatever it is, you want to put it in a place where you can see it multiple times throughout the day. And you want to do this for 21 days because 21 days is enough to kind of build that groove and the momentum of creating the mind that is going to achieve this goal. And what you want to do every single time that you read this is to not only see yourself achieving the goal inside your mind, but also to feel what it feels like. I'm getting too ahead of myself right now. Let me continue. The next step after setting your focus is going to be changing the conversation inside your mind. You want to be aware of how you speak to yourself when it comes to your health. You want to be aware of your current beliefs. You also want to write out what you want your new beliefs to be about as well. Now, that is the long way of doing things. You can get out a journal. You can get very introspective about this process. Now, a quick fix to this, I hate to call it a quick fix. I hate to call it a hack, but it kind of seems like it, which is the process of non-sleep deep rest. And non-sleep deep rest is another term for hypnosis, and you can use hypnosis for a number of things. One of the things that I like to use hypnosis for in my life is to train the conversation that is going on in my mind. So one of the best apps for this that I use is called Reverie. I'll link it down below. And Reverie is actually done by one of the founding fathers of hypnosis. His name is David Spiegel. I did an entire podcast with him. I interviewed him, and it was one of my favorite interviews because I am just so interested in the process of changing your mind to achieve your goals. You can do either or, you can do both. You can get the app or you can journal it out. You can get aware about what are all these conversations that are going on in your mind, which leads me to the next step. The next step is to keep what I call a performance journal. So I did this when I was going through my process of giving up alcohol for a full year. I didn't just say, I'm gonna give up alcohol and that's it. I actually journaled out every single day of what was happening, how I was feeling, the experiences I was going through, what was happening when I was going in social situations. And I also did this when I quit porn as well. Now, the reason I did this and the reason I recommend to get introspective and to keep a journal around all this stuff is because that helps you change your identity. It gives you more reasons to follow through on the things that you said you were going to do. And it also makes the game so fun because you are treating it like an experiment. So even in my process of, let's just say, giving up alcohol, I'd be like day 1, day 2, day 3. And then when I got to like day 7, I would be like, oh, 7 days, milestone hit. And then I would recount all of the really cool things that happened by going through my journal and seeing all of the benefits I was getting. And one of the things about being introspective about this particular particular part of your life where you're really trying to achieve something you haven't achieved before is it gives you more reasons to follow through. The thing that you have to understand about getting in shape and just changing any part of your life is that it doesn't happen overnight. It's not like you wake up and you're in shape already and you're feeling amazing and you're feeling energetic. It's this subtle thing that happens that you would not even know it's happening unless you're noting it down as it happens. And I've done this with one of my clients where he's dropped like 25 pounds off of his body. He feels good about the outcome. And then I would ask him, okay, cool. Like, have you noticed any changes with your energy? Oh, yeah. You know what? I have noticed that I'm not taking naps anymore. These are things that most people don't even think about as they're going through this transformative process. And that's why you want to get introspective. You want to take a performance journal and you want to talk about the highs and the lows and everything else in between. That is your journey to running this experiment on yourself. Now, the final step to mental training is one that I use myself and that I highly recommend, which is to get massive accountability. I mean, like, if you've kept yourself accountable to something before, then great. Then maybe that you can keep yourself accountable. But most of the times you need external accountability to really lock in, especially in the beginning stages, the changes that you're trying to make. And you don't want to do this with a loved one because that doesn't usually work from my experience. In Bob's case, he had us. We created the plan. We set the systems. We helped him adapt to that. And also we held him massively accountable. And if that's something you want to do, then you could do that. But you can also do it in other ways. Other ways could be joining a community. The other ways could be finding a friend who has a similar goal and really committing to each other that you're going to be holding yourselves accountable to the things that you say you're going to do. And to me, accountability is the knot that ties the bow together. When you are accountable to this process, when you're accountable to the things that you say you're going to do, that just gives you an extra level of power to follow through on what you said you're going to do. So think of the system as setting a plan, what I call like the business plan for your body. You're doing the work up front so you can forecast what is going to happen in the future, and it's not unlike creating a business plan for massive success. And I want to point out that having a system for losing weight is important, and I'm going to create a video on everything that we do with our clients. We do have an amazing success rate with our clients when it comes to helping them achieve their weight loss goals, both in the short and long term. And yes, like, having a system is important, but you need to combine both the system and the mindset in order to make your goals a reality. So if you come this far and you found yourself fighting yourself to even taking the actions to doing the things that you know are going to help you hit your goals, then use the system, go through it entirely, go back into this video and pause the sections so you can actually go through these exercises with me, and you can create a plan for yourself to achieve any goal that you set for yourself, especially when it comes to losing weight. And if you've gotten this far, thanks for watching the video. Please do me a favor and subscribe to the video. We're trying to reach a lot more high achievers just like yourself, and we're trying to just make the world a healthier place, or I'm trying to make the world a healthier place through these videos and through all the content that I post out there on social media. So please subscribe to this video. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.